For nearly a decade, Dorit and Kemsley were celebrated as the ultimate blueprint of a modern reality TV power couple. They survived terrifying home invasions, brutal internet scrutiny, and the infamous Beverly Hills curse that tears most marriages apart. But behind the closed doors of their multi-million-dollar mansion, a toxic storm was brewing. Fast forward to today, and the fairy tale hasn't just ended, it has devolved into an absolute battlefield. The amicable separation they promised fans has vanished, replaced by a cutthroat legal war over money, spousal support, and the sole custody of their children. The tension just reached an explosive breaking point following a devastating public call-out on Father's Day, forcing legendary music icon Boy George to break his silence and publicly blast Dorit's behavior as absolutely disgusting. The gloves are officially off, and the golden couple of Bravo is locked in a bitter, high-stakes feud where nobody is safe. So, what really destroyed this Hollywood empire? How did a decade of romance turn into a million-dollar nightmare? Well, grab your popcorn, because the reality is far more sinister than anyone ever expected. To truly understand how this massive empire crumbled, we have to look back at how it all began, because the cracks in the foundation were there long before the cameras started rolling for the cameras of Beverly Hills. When Dorit and PK first burst onto the reality television scene, they presented an image of absolute, untouchable opulence. PK was the wealthy British music manager with deep connections to some of the biggest icons in the world, most notably Boy George, while Dorit was the ultra-chic, fashion-forward designer who spoke with an elite, transatlantic accent that kept everyone guessing. They lived a life that most people could only ever dream of, filled with designer labels, expensive luxury cars, and a lifestyle that screamed endless wealth. For years, they were the envy of the entire franchise, appearing to navigate the complex social waters of Beverly Hills with complete ease. They faced intense scrutiny from fans, brutal confrontations from their castmates, and a series of continuous financial rumors that seemed to follow them every single season. Yet, through it all, they maintained a united front, always holding hands, always defending each other against the outside world, and reassuring their global audience that their love was built on a rock-solid foundation. They overcame a terrifying, highly publicized home invasion that left Dorit deeply traumatized, an event that many thought would destroy their sense of security, but instead seemed to bring them closer than ever before. But as the old saying goes, all that glitters is not gold, and behind the closed doors of their beautiful mansion, the pressure was quietly building up to a dangerous breaking point. The glamorous facade began to slip during the recent seasons of the show, as eagle-eyed fans started noticing subtle shifts in their relationship dynamic. Dorit was openly dealing with the lingering psychological aftermath of her trauma, desperately seeking stability and emotional support, while PK was frequently traveling back and forth to London, juggling his high-profile management career and spending weeks away from his family. The emotional distance between them quickly translated into physical distance, and the rumor mills began to spin faster than ever. Tabloids were flooded with whispers of marital strife, separate living arrangements, and impending doom for the beloved couple. Despite their repeated public denials and confident social media posts insisting that they were perfectly fine, the reality of their situation was far more precarious. The turning point finally came when they released their joint separation announcement, a statement that shook the reality television world to its absolute core. In that carefully worded message, they claimed that after a great deal of deep soul-searching and difficult conversations, they had made the mutual decision to take some time apart to work on their relationship. They assured their millions of followers that their love for one another remained deeply intact, and that their primary focus would always be co-parenting their two young children, Jagger and Phoenix, with the utmost respect and care. It was the standard, amicable celebrity separation template designed to pacify the public and keep the media at bay. Fans held on to the hope that this was just a temporary roadblock, a brief pause for a couple that had already survived so much together. But behind that peaceful public statement, an incredibly bitter war was already being calculated. The promise of an amicable split evaporated almost overnight as the legal reality of dividing a shared life came into full view. Instead of working quietly through mediation, the separation rapidly devolved into a hostile standoff. PK's decision to officially relocate back to the United Kingdom full-time was the first major indicator that the separation was anything but temporary. He chose to submerge himself back into the fast-paced London music scene, leaving Dorit alone in California to manage the daily lives of their children under the constant glare of the paparazzi. This physical separation did not bring peace. Instead, it created a massive communication breakdown that allowed resentment to grow rapidly. What started as a temporary break quickly solidified into a permanent divide, setting the stage for one of the most aggressive legal battles the franchise has ever witnessed. The quiet resentment that had been building up for years finally spilled over into the legal system, as both parties began preparing for an all-out war. The public soon realized that the charming British manager and his fashionable wife were no longer speaking as partners, but as fierce adversaries, each determined to protect their own interests at any cost, leaving their fairy tale completely in ruins. As the legal machinery began to grind forward, the true battleground shifted from the court of public opinion directly into the sterile, unforgiving environment of the family law courts. What had started as a quiet disagreement over boundaries quickly transformed into an all-out war over the two things that define the Hollywood lifestyle: custody and money. The filing of the official divorce papers lifted the veil on a shocking level of animosity that nobody saw coming. Dorit dropped the first major legal bombshell by officially requesting sole legal and physical custody of their two young children, Jagger and Phoenix. In the world of high-profile divorces, asking for sole custody is an incredibly aggressive move. It essentially signals to the court and to the world that you do not believe your former partner is capable of making sound, joint decisions for the welfare of the children, or that their lifestyle is not conducive to stable parenting. For a father like PK, who had always projected an image of a deeply doting and involved dad on global television, this was an absolute insult to his character. He did not waste a single moment launching a massive legal counteroffensive, aggressively filing for joint legal and physical custody. PK's legal team argued that his deep bond with his children should not be severed just because he had relocated his primary business operations back to London. This immediately created a painful, cross-continental custody deadlock, with two young children caught directly in the crossfire of their parents' crumbling relationship, as legal experts predicted a long, drawn-out battle that would cost hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees alone. But while the emotional stakes of the custody battle were incredibly high, the financial warfare happening behind the scenes was proving to be just as destructive. Dorit's legal team made a formal demand for substantial spousal support, arguing that she had grown accustomed to a specific, ultra-luxurious standard of living during their decade-long marriage and required financial assistance to maintain that lifestyle for herself and the children in their multi-million-dollar Beverly Hills environment. PK's response to this demand was a swift, uncompromising door-slammed-shut refusal. He filed counter-documents explicitly demanding that the court permanently terminate Dorit's right to seek any form of spousal support from him whatsoever. He argued that Dorit was a highly successful reality television star, an influencer, and a business owner in her own right who was more than capable of supporting herself without draining his financial resources. This move shocked fans who remembered PK as the incredibly generous husband who used to surprise Dorit with pristine, customized sports cars and lavish, over-the-top birthday parties without a second thought. The sudden financial hostility lent immense credibility to the dark rumors that had been circulating throughout Beverly Hills for years regarding the true state of the couple's finances. For a long time, tabloids had hinted that their lavish lifestyle was a fragile house of cards, built on a mountain of hidden debts, legal lawsuits, and unresolved tax issues. With the divorce forcing both parties to completely open up their financial books to the court, the reality of their situation began to look incredibly grim. Insiders whispered that PK had completely cut off Dorit's access to their shared credit cards and marital funds, leaving her to navigate the immense financial pressure of maintaining their $6 million mansion entirely on her own. The grand home, which had served as the gorgeous backdrop for so many glamorous reality television scenes, was suddenly rumored to be facing severe foreclosure threats and messy legal liens. The image of the untouchable, wealthy British tycoon and his pampered wife was completely shattered, replaced by the stark reality of two people fighting desperately over a shrinking pie of assets. Dorit, who had spent years curating an image of effortless perfection and endless wealth, was now facing the terrifying prospect of a complete lifestyle downgrade under the judgmental gaze of millions of viewers. The stress of the financial cutoffs and the looming threat of losing her home began to take a visible toll on her, as friends reported she was feeling completely isolated and overwhelmed in California, while PK was thousands of miles away in London, completely insulated from the daily chaos. This financial stagnation only added fuel to the growing fire of resentment between them, turning every single conversation regarding assets, properties, and child support into a bitter, exhausting argument that dragged them further away from any hope of a peaceful resolution, setting up an explosive environment where a public eruption was completely inevitable. The escalating tension behind closed doors finally reached a boiling point in the public eye, turning their private legal dispute into an explosive, highly synchronized media war. The first major catalyst for this public eruption was the highly anticipated release of Dorit's raw and revealing new memoir, Unburdened. In the months leading up to its publication, rumor mills were working overtime, whispering that Dorit had used the pages of her book to completely dismantle the curated image of her marriage. When the book finally hit the shelves, those rumors were confirmed. Dorit did not hold back, offering a deeply critical look into the final, agonizing years of her relationship with PK. She detailed the profound feelings of emotional abandonment she experienced while he spent months across the Atlantic, painting a picture of a husband who was increasingly detached from the emotional reality of his family. During a heavily publicized promotional interview with Page Six, when a reporter directly asked her how she thought PK would react to the shocking revelations inside the book, Dorit delivered a cold, calculated response. She stated that if he read the book with an open heart and a compassionate mind, he might actually learn something about her pain, but quickly added that he had a lifelong habit of finding fault in everything she did. This public statement was a direct, unapologetic shot across the bow, signaling to PK that she was no longer willing to protect his reputation at the expense of her own truth. But the true atomic bomb in this unfolding drama was dropped on Father's Day, a day traditionally reserved for celebrating family unity. Instead of a standard, polite tribute to the father of her children, Dorit took to her official Instagram account to post a devastating, highly pointed video quote that sent shockwaves through the entire entertainment industry. The post read, in bold text, that a man who forces the mother of his children to struggle, and who sits back passively while she breaks down emotionally under immense pressure, is a complete and absolute failure as a parent. The implication was undeniable. Dorit was publicly branding PK as a deadbeat, unsupportive father in front of millions of followers, effectively weaponizing social media to destroy whatever goodwill he had left with the public. The backlash from PK's camp was instantaneous, but it didn't come from PK himself. Instead, it came from his lifelong best friend and most prominent client, the legendary music icon Boy George. Infuriated by what he perceived as a malicious, unprovoked assassination of his friend's character on a sensitive family holiday, Boy George took a screenshot of Dorit's post and re-uploaded it to his own massive platform. Accompanying the screenshot was a scathing caption where he publicly blasted Dorit's behavior, calling the post absolutely disgusting, cruel, and completely unnecessary. Boy George's sudden, aggressive entry into the narrative completely shifted the dynamics of the feud. It was no longer just a standard, messy divorce between two reality television personalities. It had officially evolved into a full-scale lifestyle war, with major Hollywood figures forcing themselves to take definitive sides. Insiders revealed that Boy George's public defense of PK was fully authorized, serving as a proxy attack to hit Dorit where it hurt the most, her public image. The public retaliation completely fractured the remaining social circles they shared in Beverly Hills and London, as mutual friends were forced to choose between supporting Dorit in her isolation or standing by PK and his powerful industry allies. The online space quickly devolved into a chaotic battlefield, with fans fiercely debating whether Dorit's public call-out was a justified cry for help from a woman pushed to her absolute limit, or a toxic, vengeful stunt designed to humiliate the father of her children. Meanwhile, production sources for The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills confirmed that this explosive real-time drama has completely reshaped the narrative for the upcoming season. The cameras, which had previously captured their glamorous love story, are now documentarians of a bitter, multi-million-dollar psychological war. With both sides completely dug into their positions, refusing to give an inch on custody, money, or public narrative, the situation has grown increasingly volatile. The fairy tale that began with designer dresses and British charm has officially ended in a dark, toxic cycle of public shaming and legal retaliation, leaving a trail of broken promises, fractured friendships, and a once vibrant family permanently divided in the unforgiving glare of the Hollywood spotlight. As this explosive legal and emotional battle continues to play out in the public eye, one thing is absolutely certain: the upcoming season of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills is going to be the most dramatic, chaotic, and highly anticipated watch in reality television history. The days of designer labels and united fronts are officially over, replaced by a raw, cutthroat reality that nobody saw coming. But now, it is time to turn the conversation over to the most important part of this equation: all of you watching at home. This entire situation has completely divided the fan base, and the internet is absolutely buzzing with fierce debates over who is truly in the wrong here. So we want to know exactly where you stand on this unfolding Hollywood nightmare. Do you believe that Dorit Kemsley was completely justified in using her massive social media platform to publicly call out her ex-husband on Father's Day as a desperate cry for help? Or do you agree with Boy George's scathing assessment that her public actions were absolutely disgusting, toxic, and went way too far? Are you siding with Dorit as she fights for sole custody in California, or do you think PK deserves an equal right to be with his children? Drop your raw, unfiltered thoughts, theories, and predictions down in the comment section below, because we read every single one of them. If you want to stay completely up to date on every single breaking update, court filing, and shocking twist in this high-stakes celebrity feud, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now and turn on all post notifications. Don't forget to smash that like button if you enjoyed this deep dive, and share this video with your fellow Bravo fans. Thank you so much for watching, stay tuned, and we will see you right here in the next video.